Hey guys, it's Night Flame, and today, guys, I will be reviewing E is for Extinction, issue number 1. I got this out of the whim, and it's because, the person from my comic book shop said, read this book, it's really good. So let's see what I thought about E is for Extinction. So let's get started. Spoilers will happen, so let's get it on. So the comic opens up with Professor Xavier, and this has to be the first two craziest pages I ever read in my life. And what's happening is Professor Xavier is threatening to shoot himself if Cassandra doesn't get out of his head. So he ends up doing so because she doesn't get out of his head, and he blows himself up, which I thought was insane. But after this, the story slows down a little, and we see this new generation of X-Men that are led by Magneto. They get in a fight in this bar, and when they finish, Cyclops and Emma come in, and they are quickly bullied by this new generation of X-Men, which I thought was funny, but it was also a little weird. They call them old timers. They make fun of them about how Emma wears like small clothing, and how Cyclops, he's a little overweight, and they're making fun of them because they're not new and they're not fresh face. So Magneto dismisses Cyclops and Emma, and Magneto says, you know what, you guys are not the generation that I need because they're not even strong as they used to be. So that happens, and after this we find an interesting development, which is probably my favorite part of this whole series, or this whole issue, is that people in this place are so worried about their competition with mutants that they want their kids to be mutants. And we find a story of this couple who go to Hank, and they ask him to basically have only sperm that produces mutants, because they want their kid to have a chance out there, because they feel like if their kid is not a mutant, they can't compete with somebody who has like insane smartness and like speed and everything like that. So they're gonna change, I guess, the process of creating birth and ensuring themselves that they have a little mutants, which I thought was interesting because people usually hate having mutants, and this family wants to have one. And I think many other people would want the same thing for their child. So I thought this was an interesting development. But as the issue happens, we find out that Cyclops, Emma, and Wolverine are going to go to the Magneto facility where he trains the new X-Men, and they're going to try to rescue Jean because they found out that Jean is being held captive by Magneto's X-Men. And at the end, we end up finding out that I'm not sure who this is. It might be Cassandra. But yeah, they end up finding him or her. Who is it? I'm not sure, but they end up finding him and her, and they are going to enlist him and her, I don't know who that is, for their forces. So what's gonna happen? We'll find out next issue. So what did I think about East for Extinction number 1? I'm not familiar with the Grant Morrison run on New X-Men, I think it was. So I don't know what was happening. I know that Angel Salvador was there. I know all the X-Men that were in this issue were used during that run. And I think this is an interesting topic because, yeah, the X-Men, are going to get old and people are going to replace them. And I thought that was interestingly told in this issue. And like I said, my favorite part was when Beast was trying to ensure that this couple had a baby. I thought that was interesting because, that's how people would have felt at that time. They want their child to have an opportunity out there, but with mutants, you really can't, because there are some mutants that are extremely smart, extremely fast, extremely, what else? They could fly. The sky is not the limit for them. So that was an interesting panel, and that was probably my favorite panel in comics this week. But besides that, I thought there was some seriously weird dialogue, especially when they were making fun of the old X-Men. I thought it was a little weird about how Cyclops didn't even say anything back. Maybe it was because he was old, but still, I thought it was a little weird. And I'm not familiar with this X-Men, the new X-Men. I'm not really familiar with them, and I really have to say that the art is not my favorite. I know Frank Quitely's art style was exactly like this, but it's not my favorite type of art. I think it's really just, I don't know, people do not look like that. So I'm gonna give it EX for Extinction a 7 out of 10. It wasn't a horrible issue. There was some really interesting plot lines here, but yeah, the art really holds it back a lot for me, especially since I'm not really familiar with the new X-Men run, and I'm not really familiar as well with Frank Quietly's work. So that's why I gave EX for Extinction a 7 out of 10. And I think you guys should pick it up if you're an X-Men fan, especially if you're a Grant Morrison fan, because I think that Chris Burnham really has his voice. But yeah, other than that, if you pick up comics for the art, I think you should skip this one. So 7 out of 10 for this, and thanks for watching, guys. Hope you like this video. Also subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so, and have a nice day, guys. Goodbye.